Kelly Barry is Kiwi TV's most famous redhead. She was the face of the Palmer's Garden show, as well as fronting all kinds of news and current affairs over the year. She's here to help us celebrate 50 years of New Zealand TV. And Maggie, you've been watching some of the clips we've shown, a couple of bloopers. What's it like looking back on all those years of TV for you now?
Oh, it's frightening looking at the hairstyles and the big earrings and the big shoulders and all that kind of stuff. You know, it was the way it used to be, but it's fun. I hadn't remembered that bloopers about showing me his and mine and all that. It's not usually my thing, but no, it's fun. It was great to look at it because telly has changed a lot, but it still retains that coming in on a wing and a prayer immediacy, which I've always enjoyed.
Tell us some of the really tough moments you've had over the years, because you had the radio training, which you said was indispensable for those tough fly by the seat of your pants moments. What are some of the fonder memories you have?
Well, I guess there have been a few where I've been running a little bit late, which of course is not exactly out of character to people who know me. I suppose, you know, things are happening with phone lines has always plagued me. I'm not sure whether I'm some kind of jinx or how it works, but the very first garden show we were on television, Bill Ward and myself were standing there like a couple of ninnies, and the phone lines went down. We were supposed to be doing live talkback. Bad thing. Decision 93, when I was doing the election night coverage at Avalon, the phone lines went down immediately prior to the program going to air. And election specials on television, big news specials like that, were phenomenons. You know, we had a guy out from England to organise it, and it was bigger than Africa. And then the final thing is that it all turns to custard. So you have to sit there and pretend nothing is at all going wrong, and that you can't hear people screaming in your earpiece and crying and renting their clothing, and just keep talking calmly and mildly while they put it right.
Well, they did it right into you. And now, wasn't there another situation where you read the wrong news bulletin? Not your fault. Nightmare.
It was terrible. Oh, it was a nightmare. Well, you know how you have auto cue. You're sitting there looking at auto cue. There was a late breaking story. It was a program called Prime Time, and it was a nightly news show that went to air about 9:30. So I scuttled into the studio, running a bit late, putting my microphone on, trying to get my hair back in place, put my earpiece in, and I sat there and good evening and welcome to the program, and it was the wrong Tuesday. It was the Tuesday prior to that. The auto cue operator got a bit rattled and she selected up the wrong one, so tragically. And I had no hard copy, nothing on paper, because it was a late breaking story. So the whole thing was hideous. I could hear the screaming in my headphones or my earpiece as people were feeling very unhappy with what was going on. But I just had to sit there. You know, the music's playing and I'm saying, coming up in the program tonight, I'm not quite sure actually what's happening, but it will be fine. But, you know, those kinds of things that happen, radio training's really good for that, because you know that if you just keep talking, somebody somewhere behind the scenes is going to put it right, and all I have to do is pretend there's nothing particularly going wrong and just keep talking as I can under wet cement.
Now, what you're probably most well known for, of course, are the gardening shows, the Palmer's gardening show, and then it became Maggie's Garden. We have a clip, I think it's from the early 90s, of the Palmer's gardening show. Let's take a look.
Hi everybody, welcome to the show. I must say it's a great pleasure for me to be here, because gardening to me is one of the great pleasures of life. I've been looking forward to this program for a long time. I'm what you call a closet gardener. I'm one of those sort of people that has gardened all their lives, and I'm very happy to be part of a television event like this. And of course I've got a team and they're rearing to go. Coming up in a few moments' time, we'll be talking with gardener Bill Ward. He's here with advice, trowel poised and ready to go. In fact, you can phone him now on a toll-free number. It's 0800 80 59 59.
Oh, I wonder what that phone number is now. I hope no one tries to call it. Who knows what it is now?
Do not try that at home. That was the first show, that's right. It was fantastic because they put us on air at 7:30 in the morning. Such was their confidence that we would get an audience. I mean, we had to beat the audience that was on there earlier, which was the test pattern, basically. But we did so well in that first series because gardeners came out and watched it in force, and it was fantastic. The response was such that they put us on prime time for our second series, and that was down to Maureen Sinton, actually. You know how you remember the people that help out along the way and forget the small, bald men that get rid of you, which they've all gone as well, naturally. Yes, there you go. But those sort of things, it happens that you have a loyal audience and they love the pastime of gardening, as we all did on the show. So it was an absolute pleasure to make for 12 years. We had a ball. We had a fantastic time.
Of course, you also did a lot of current events and news, and one of those shows was Counterpoint, and you actually worked alongside David Longy, which I didn't realise. We've got a little clip. This is from 1992 Counterpoint. Let's take a look.
Good evening and welcome to the final program for the year. Tonight, we're going to be taking your calls on a topic we've heard a lot of throughout 1992. Why has Parliament and its MPs hit rock bottom in public esteem? The year began with a by-election in Tamaki. The anti-politics mood of that electorate was abundantly clear.
a game of political vengeance. It's reprisal. It's saying to people who represent the professional politics of the last decade, you know, go and get nicked.
My goodness, I have to say, Maggie, you have a beautiful voice and presence, and still do, on air. What kind of training did you get for that?
I did an ATCL in speech. I think I was a bit troublesome at school from an early age, so my mother had sent me off to elocution, which was actually worked out very well because you stand up and you're confident about performing and things, and you can speak fairly well if you have to. You know, I don't have terminal consonant problems or dark L assimilation, and I know a lot of people complain about that these days with some of the broadcasters that come on who haven't had that training. But I guess it's all to do with radio, really. You learn such good skills about how to go with the flow, to do your homework, and not to be too concerned about your appearance. I mean, it is quite scary for me looking back on all that big red hair and giant earrings and big shoulders and things like that. It's like an episode out of Gloss. But I guess the training is something that happens while you're on the job, really. I did journalism and news and current affairs, and that was my first love before gardening. And I enjoyed it because I got paid to be rude to people, really. When I was on Morning Report on Radio New Zealand National, as it is now, you know, you have to be kind of incisive and to the point, and I enjoyed that. You know, I enjoyed the cut and thrust, and I am on Radio Live Drive now from 4 till 6 each night, and it's the same sort of thing. You know, radio, you've only got 5 minutes, you've got to make it count. You haven't really got time for the foreplay or the niceties, so it is something I enjoy, keeping up with the news and current affairs, although gardening is always something I love to do in my spare time, and will never not love to do it. It's just something it's in me.
Well, look, honestly, you made such a name for yourself with those shows, and it's great to hear that you're back on radio, sort of come full circle in a way, and we hope to see you again on our screens as well, Maggie. Thank you so much for joining us to reminisce over these last 50 years of New Zealand TV.
That's been fun. Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.